Okay. Okay. Oh, NG. Okay.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren and this is...
Hi, my name is Moses and I'm the co-founder for MAP Learning Consultancy.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today we're going to talk about some controversial topics about education. Education. Okay, being a born-bred Singaporean, I have been through formal education in Singapore, only up till uni. I did my uni in the US uni. Private unis back then were not sexy.
For myself, I actually went through the full education system up to university, but in NUS, but I left halfway through, so you can consider me as an NUS school dropout.
Oh wow! I never knew. So you've been in uni all the way, and how was the experience like for you going through this very traditional school type?
I think for me, it's still... At first, I was still alright because I was following with the main flow of things. And because back then, when the environment is still very well categorized into the very clear mainstreams of express, normal acad, and normal tech, I'm the very guai kia kind. So I have never played truancy at all. I never skip any of my lectures. I'm the one that actually followed through the entire system. So it's still, for me, it's comfortable.
Okay.
It's more of a comfortable, and as I will just follow with the structure and let everything play by itself.
Okay, so you mentioned you are doing a learning consultancy.
Yes, correct.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so for me, right now, me and my wife, we are actually doing into tutoring. We hope not just to provide academic support, but we also want to provide non-academic support, such as like sharing more about mental health and how can we truly support our children and help parents and children to learn together in this ever-changing landscape.
Oh, so you had a new tagline that we just came up with. You
Yes.
are tutors?
Who cares?
Oh,
Yeah.
so sweet. Okay, so we wanted to talk about education today. Of course, I shared a bit about my experience. I, did that whole traditional thing all the way until US uni. And then, I did it in Singapore. I'm not that rich. So, and you did the full traditional Singaporean style.
Yes, correct.
How has it been like for you? Cause I was like, bro, I was struggling, man. I didn't really enjoy it.
For me, it's more smooth sailing.
Okay.
But it's just that when I entered NUS, it was a very different landscape for me. It's a culture shock, in fact, because once I step into NUS, I realized that a lot of things needs to be very self-disciplined.
Okay.
A lot of self-discipline comes into play as I were to talk about planning of modules, working with friends, doing my own revision and studies, and there's no one to whack me in the ass and say, hey, you got to go for this lecture, you got to do this tutorial, you got to secure your grades. Everything boils back to myself. So once I entered NUS, it was a whole culture shock for me. I struggled with the basics.
Okay.
But over the 2 years, I tried to seek help from like my classmates, my peers. I even joined the student council in hope to get some more peer support.
Okay.
But it didn't really work out in the end.
Okay.
So in the end, threw in the letter and say I shall withdraw from the school.
Oh, so that was what happened.
Yes, correct.
I see. Thanks for sharing. And, coming back to that whole topic about us wanting to delve a bit more into education because you are in the education sector.
Yes.
I am in the education sector of myself and business owners. Hello. Today we're not talking so much about HR, but we're talking about education. Still important, especially if you have kids or you have like nephews and nieces who are studying like myself. I do have them. There is this thing that's been buzzing for a while, right? This thing called subject-based bending.
Correct.
Of course, if you search up YouTube, there are tons of like informative videos for you to figure it out. So we're not going to give you the breakdown, the rundown, the history of what's happening. It's just more of our thoughts about what's happening because Moses and I had a chat and then we just found out that there were some interesting things that we wanted to share.
Yes, indeed.
How do you think subject-based bending is going to pan out for these kids from here on?
Okay, I feel that for subject-based bending, what the general direction for this whole new initiative is for the children to be able to decide what kind of subjects are they doing at different difficulty levels at their own pace, of course. So, for example, if someone will to be better in terms of mathematics and science, they will be able to choose the subject level at the G3 level, which is the highest level.
Okay.
As compared to maybe he's not so good in languages, so they can be chosen at the G2 level. So this option to choose allows the students to in a way, exercise some sort of flexibility and freedom into what kind of subjects they are choosing at a higher difficulty level, so they can feel more comfortable in terms of their learning.
So it sounds very much like my era where, you know, in JC you get to choose your own subjects, your own
Yes,
classes.
in fact, it's very similar.
Oh, so
very
it's
similar.
kind of same but different.
Yes, it's just that they wanted to bring this message and this idea to a lower level. That means from the JC level, they want to bring it down to the secondary school level and let them see that, hey, actually, can this change also bring about positive changes in the secondary school?
I guess it's also creating a butterfly effect much earlier.
Yes.
Because if had I not taken certain subjects or had I taken certain subjects at JC, I would have, you know, gone down a different path. So is it also, you know, trying to build a different butterfly effect?
In fact, yes, I would actually agree with you, because ultimately it has to start from a certain level, which is starting from JC, where we choose the H1 and H2 topics. Then it goes down to SBB in secondary school level, and then it will actually bring more effects down to the primary school level, where we talk about AL system, and then also talking about the standard and foundation subjects. So it's trying to bring in a new culture of change, starting from the most basic, which is primary school levels.
Okay. Yeah, because even in primary schools, I think there's a lot of changes at this point also.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So is subject-based banding, you know, then its effects, is it also trying to move away from grades?
Okay, they are trying their very best. This is my personal opinion. So
all of it is our personal opinion.
Okay, yeah. So in fact, they are trying their very best to help parents and help the students to steer away from looking just purely at the grades and the numbers and marks on the paper itself.
Right.
And it's more to help them focus more on the bigger holistic development of children, to let the parents and students know that, hey, grades are not everything.
Okay.
In fact, there could be other opportunities for you to expand on, like certain skills, or maybe certain sports or CCAs that allows them to actually have a broader choice of what to do.
Cool. Because brings back to, okay, I don't parent my nephews and nieces, but there's always something that I've been telling them for a long time, which I subscribe to from Uncle V, Uncle Gary V, Mr. Dear Gary Vaynerchuk. Thank you so much for existing on Earth. He's always been advocating the fact that if you are a student, right? I mean, of course, concentrate on being a student, but his whole methodology here is that you don't have to be a straight A student if you are not a straight A student.
Yes.
I was never a straight A student. So the way that I am telling my nephews and nieces to be, especially those that are closer to me, is that you don't have to be a straight A student. All I ask for is B's and C's, so that you have enough time to, you know, go and have a CCA or go and join a school council, or, you know, make more friends or have a social life. That's what I think. Do you also think that this is helping in that direction?
Definitely, I would say it's on a positive note that this is helping, because it allows the students to actually, in a way, put some dedication and effort into other non-academic aspects as well, such as excelling on their CCAs, taking up leadership positions, and these are, in fact, the more crucial and lifelong skills that an individual needs to own in order to survive in society. It's not so much about the content knowledge that we are learning on the books and textbooks, but it's more about for example, communication skills, networking skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurial skills that allows this person from a young age to be able to go far. Okay. That's what I feel.
Okay. So if that's the case with this new change, you know, it's a massive change. With such change coming in, what kind of kids are we growing now?
In fact, I feel that this initiative and this change are trying to develop a new generation of self-directed learners.
Okay.
So when these children learn how to take decision-making into their own account at a younger age, they will be able to tell themselves that, hey, actually every decision I make from this point of time is going to impact me for a certain period of time in the future. It can be for the next 4 years, it can be for the next 10 years. So every decision that this individual make today is going to impact them in the longer term. And having these children learning this at a younger age will let them know even clearer in the future, whenever they make decisions at an older age, it's going to impact more at a longer time, and it's going to impact more people, and it's going to impact at a wider scale.
Basically, butterfly effect.
Yes, correct. It's still the butterfly effect.
Still butterfly effect.
Mm.
Nice, good. I am excited to see because we've been looking at kids, especially if you doom scroll TikTok just like me, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten off that habit, but you do see that there are so much of this new generation coming up who
Indeed.
are so smart when it comes to technology. They are so like they know how to do certain things like so instantly, and it scares me sometimes. But it's great to know that something like that actually does have a positive change on them, and that it's supposed to bring the best out of them in terms of bringing up self-directed children. The other thing I would be more on the challenging side of things to ask is actually are parents ready for something like that?
Oh, this is actually a touchy question, because with all the changes that the students are undergoing under the education system, parents are, I'll leave that as a question mark though, because with the ever fast changing working landscape and the very tight-paced working landscape among adults, I see that personally, I feel that parents may find it a bit of a struggle to be able to catch up with the changes and to keep up with the times, and to, in a way, adjust their own mentalities and mindset of how can they better parent and guide their kids along the way. So the change is definitely there. However, it's going to take some time.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
So parents would also see a challenge coming from that as a butterfly effect.
Indeed.
Right.
Because parents being parents, parents, they are also using what they have known and what they have learned in their own time,
Experience.
and their own experience and insights to guide the children today.
Yeah.
But with so much things that's happening, like for example the boom of AI, for like internet, there are so many things that even the parents themselves are not fully aware of.
Yeah.
And with the lack of this knowledge and insights, sometimes you see that children are much more tech savvy as compared to the parents.
Yeah.
So how can this communication and the dynamics within the family is going to change in the near future? It still remains as a big question mark. Back to the topic on working landscapes is where the time commitment from the parents is still going to be a big challenge as to balance and weigh between talking and guiding the kids, and also learning and catching up and staying relevant with the new technologies. So there will always be this struggle there, but this, however, calls for the parents to, I feel, to step up.
Okay.
To step up and to, in a way, go along and to keep up with the change.
Right. Because I also, see in my friends, my peers, right? Some of them have kids that are going to primary school next year. Surprise, surprise. So it's like, watching them and together with my nephews and nieces, right? Watching them grow up, it's more of like, I wonder how much parents also have to suffer in silence in that sense when it comes to stress levels, because things are ever changing. Of course, whatever they are learning in school now is getting more and more sophisticated. The difficulty is much more. I mean, I was doing my niece's A-math that day, and I almost died. I was like, okay, don't give it to me anymore. I mean, I can do it, but it doesn't mean that I want to continue with it. So I can only imagine how stressful it is. And you're talking about working landscapes. We also not mentioning yet this group of people like the full-time working mothers who have to juggle with so much.
Yes.
So in your learning consultancy, how is it that you guys also support these families?
Okay, so for us, we also provide, apart from our regular tuition services, we also provide education pathway consultations. So it's like a one-off consultation where parents and students who may have some questions and doubts about how their children are performing, or how the changes in the current landscape will impact them as a whole family organization, they are welcome to actually reach out to us, and then we can actually do a mini group consultation with them, together with the parents and the kids together.
Okay, that's very nice. I've worked in a tuition agency before as one of my part-time jobs, back then. So it was never really like a combination of what you're doing right now. So how has it been in terms of like the journey of starting MAP and all the way till now?
In fact, for us, when we first started MAP, we only, the only message that came to us in a way, the motivation to start MAP is to really to shape ourselves to become tutors who really care, because we firmly believe that the children of the current generation is having the content knowledge is never enough, and with all the changes like what we mentioned earlier on, it's even more important for the children to stay relevant and to be really more independent in terms of their thinking and their mentalities and mindsets. And these are expectations that is never seen before or never expected from children of the past eras, maybe 10 to 20 years ago. In the past, where we talk about, oh, how do you want a children to grow up? Okay, we get a good degree, get a good job, and the typical route goes. But today, this statement is no longer the universal statement anymore. So some things need to change.
Right.
As we started MAP, we feel that this message needs to be brought out to more people. And more parents, more students need to see it as, hey, the society is changing, everything is changing, our mentalities, our mindsets also needs to upgrade. Just like how we are upgrading our computers, we also need to upgrade our mentalities and mindsets, and to see how can we better shape children to be the leaders of the future generations.
Right. It's a huge topic.
It is a huge topic.
So I'm glad we started with education.
Yeah.
It's this thing about us talking about entrepreneurship, but also today is a bit special because it's education. And we were talking about how this new change of subject-based banding is actually, in our opinion, moving things towards building of better, more disciplined, more self-directed children.
Yes.
Actually, I was talking to Moses just now and I was just thinking about it in my head. I said, hey, what is it for me in this channel that I can talk about, because children and entrepreneurship is always a question mark, right? And then I told him, I said, oh, I know, because with more self-directed children, new world that we are in now, with new money, new ways to earn, new technologies.
Yes.
I guess it's really different from how we were as kids. I'm a
Yes.
90s kid. I think you're also a 90s
Yes.
kid. Yeah. So as being 90s kids, when we grew up, it's all the NSYNC dancing, and then all the what? Was it Destiny's Child in your era?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So it's all of that. But now there are so much of watching very red and fast trends on TikToks.
Yes.
And they catch on to things so fast. And so I was telling Moses, I said, I think the biggest takeaway that our generation of kids now will have with such new changes in education is actually we might just see new generations and new really young entrepreneurs coming out.
Yes.
Do you think so?
Definitely, with the amount of content they are consuming now over TikToks and Instagram and other social media feeds, and with the rise of AI, it actually is a big game changer. I'm an AI fanatic myself, so in fact, I've been using a lot of AI tools to help me increase my productivity. And now with AI tools being very, very accessible to the masses, like for example, with the usage of WhatsApp Meta AI, the message that I want to bring across for future entrepreneurs, or in fact for anyone who want to start a business or want to create something and strike out on their own, is that it's never about the how anymore. It's always about the what. In the past, in our ages, when AI is not readily available, internet is not readily available, we still have to think about the how. How can we do this, the step 1, step 2, step 3. So that creates a sense of barrier for us, because we don't know how, so we don't have the courage to start.
No means also.
No means, and we don't know no direction.
Yes.
But with today, you can actually input all of these thoughts into AI, and AI will communicate with you and provide you with a direction you do it.
And give you prompts, ask you what you want actually.
Yeah, ask you prompts what you want. You can just ask the AI to take the persona of some expert, and then they can use their AI language model and to provide you with some really decent professional tips. So it's never about the how anymore. It's about the what. As long as you know what do you want to create and what do you want to do, it's never impossible anymore. So, and it's even faster today, and it will get faster from here onwards. We must grasp this opportunity where it's all rising and booming.
Nice. Now you sound like the owner of the channel already. So when are you starting yours?
Maybe in the near future.
Yeah.
This is a first checkpoint.
Taster. Okay, so we talked about education, right? Of course, we're not going to bore you, keep going on about it, but basically this was just a taster of what we think is going to happen, especially, you know, because I'm very invested and interested in entrepreneurship in that sense, because I'm always out here trying to encourage people to do a bit more.
Yes.
Like, you know, that side hustle for yourself, that something else for yourself. Whatever it is, I just want to encourage, even if you're a little kid that's watching now. I think if things you feel are tough, they are.
Yes, they are.
They are, but I think you are tougher. So I don't want you to, you know, break down because of stress. There are always ways to manage stress when it comes to that, because I think with such changes, especially, you know, we talked about this subject-based bending,
Yep.
the change and of course the stress that comes with the change is also butterfly effect in multifolds, right?
Yes.
So I'm not saying that, you know, with the change it doesn't mean that there is no more stress. I think in fact I think there will be more stress, because even in JC when I was doing like H1 H2s, it's like, whoa, you know, sometimes it's a bit much already. So even then, you know, now you bring it to a step before, now you bring it earlier, I think it's even more difficult for them to kind of manage stress. So in your experience, maybe just before we close off this thing, how do you also teach students to manage stress?
While we're doing the teaching itself, I feel that students needs to be very aware and conscious about their own emotions first. Because during our teaching sessions, there will be instances where our students get very stressed over a problem sum, they sit there, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, tears start rolling in their eyes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so, and I do face that quite a couple of instances.
Oh dear.
So I have to like stop the whole teaching, and I have to share with them, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel stress. So I will actually take a pause from the teaching and ask them how they feel.
Okay.
So in a way, in the past, they are not being taught how to regulate their emotions. I think that's a very, very, very important part in students, especially nowadays. They need to be consciously aware of how they are feeling and how can they acknowledge and manage their emotions while working on whatever task they have on hand. But it's a good change. I feel it's a good change. So they are using this like PSLE or the whatever exams they are as like the KPI that we are doing today. But it's about helping them to walk through their emotions. I think walking through the emotions thing was never a thing in our age. No, it wasn't there. But it becomes an increasing need for children today, which I find it super important.
Okay.
Yeah, to walk through them, help them acknowledge and put the emotions aside. Okay, I feel you. So as a tutor, we come in and say, I feel you. I feel that you are disappointed or stressed. It's okay. Let's put that aside. Let's focus on the task on hand. I'll guide you through, and we can bring back the emotions later on to manage and say, okay, we feel that. How can we manage them from now on?
Wow, even tuition teacher also not easy.
Yes, indeed. In fact, it's an uphill task. In fact, because when the children don't open up about their emotions during that maybe 1.5 to 2 hours of teaching, it's very hard for us to gauge the performance of the students.
Right.
Because we don't know for the rest of the week what have they been facing at home, maybe through other instances, maybe through studies, maybe through teachers, classmates, friends, parents, siblings. There are so many factors that will be affecting their emotion and their performance during the tutoring session. So there is a need for me, and in our philosophy, we find a need to go a bit deeper and to understand that, hey, you guys have these emotions, we feel you, and we are here to support you. That is the main message.
How nice would it be if I had you as like tutor back then? I mean,
we hope to have more. We hope to also bring in more tutors who have this heart for the children as well. So we are also constantly expanding. So if you would like to join us, please let me know.
You heard it, okay? Not I say one, he say one.
Yeah, so it's like a private hiring call.
Okay, he say one, not I say one. Okay, so I think, we just talked about so much. Like, it's all about education, and then we talked about how it impacts the parents, how it impacts how potentially these children would then grow up to maybe take on entrepreneurship paths of their own, which is great for me, great news for me. So we've talked so much about education, we've talked so much about how parents have to deal with it, how butterfly effect, how the kids may or may not be able to deal with the stress.
Yeah.
So, if someone here is interested in joining you, how can they contact you?
Okay, they can reach out to us via our website. So the website is here.
Or in the description link below.
Yeah, parents and students who would like to find out more about our services as well, you guys can also visit our website to find out more details from us.
Yeah, this episode is not sponsored by Moses and his wife, okay?
Yeah.
I just invited him to come out and talk with me. Anyway, so thank you so much for being here with us today. Once again, this is Moses.
And this is Lauren.
Thank you so much for being here today. We didn't talk so much about entrepreneurship, but we talked about how to grow entrepreneurs. So see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
我在流汗啊！
我也在流汗了。哦，
我跟你讲，我没有 record 你会打我。